Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 23rd, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today was long, but it was solid. It was a good day. Hopefully, happy Friday to you. Hopefully, this energy catches you. If you're not listening to this on a Friday, that's a-okay. Hopefully, you still get that good beat, that good bounce in your day. Like, it is a Friday, right? That's what we want. It'd be nice if like every working day kind of felt like a Friday somehow. Like you just had all the like anticipation of like the weekend, unless you work on the weekend, I guess. But you know what I mean, right? And it could feel like that every day, except you'd wake up and then have to go to work. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Work was good. It was probably the most normal day I've had, sadly, I guess, because all the weird little drama. But it was nice in its own way. I just sleep has been a little and I was tired the whole day. I was really leaning on caffeine, and by the end of the day, I was just tired. Like the last hour just dragged. But we got through it, and then, I'm good now. So that's awesome. Let's see here. Food corner was pretty scant. I just wasn't feeling it. I had like some popcorn. I had some peanuts, and some grapes. So yeah, we did a little bit of snacking. A little bit of forage mode. In my refrigerator. But yeah, I just kept it easy. I didn't feel like cooking. I didn't feel like doing anything. But I'm good. Things are solid. Things are fine. I'm excited for the weekend, even though I have nothing to do. I think I just feel like I'm in a better place than maybe I was at maybe the top or the middle of this week. So that's good, right? So we'll take it. We take those. Oh! I do have to add a fun little thing, a little bit of a shit cherry on top that happened. That just kind of made me laugh. I come home, and y'all know how I told you about the AC unit breaking in my apartment, my living room. And I see, it's put up. And I look harder at it, and I see, wait, is that tape? And they have fucking duct tape on this fucking thing. They just put the old screen on. And I'm like, okay, what a cool move. That's so fucking funny. And like, I just laughed and laughed and laughed. Then as I was doing my workout, I looked up and I noticed that they had a piece of paper, and they left it like it was some kind of fucking medieval push notification or some shit. I hate that. Like, you could have called me, left a message, whatever, but fine, whatever. And I read it, and it's like, hey, couldn't get a replacement. This is just temporary. So I was like, okay, cool. I appreciate that. I feel almost like a jackass, but no, it's always gonna be fuck landlords. By the way, I don't know if you're a landlord listening to this. Wow, crazy. How'd you get here? But yeah, no. I'm glad it's up. I didn't have strong enough tape. Funny enough, though, I was probably going to go out this weekend and get duct tape anyway, just for my own weird anxiety, because I just wanted it kind of up or whatever, and I didn't believe that they were going to fix it. So, yeah, cool, whatever. I'm not, like, mad. It really is just more fucking comedy than anything else. But I was like, that's so funny that they just put duct tape up, and then, like I said, I thought they left nothing else. That was it. I thought that was what it was going to be. So that was a cute little joke by them. Hee hee ha ha. Let's see here. Enough about me. Let's try to do our startup and get into some news. All right. First story comes from Reuters. 11 killed in Israeli strike on Gaza's Bet Lahia, Palestinian news agency says. At least 11 people were killed in an Israeli strike on a residential building in the northern Gaza town of Bet Lahia in the early hours of Thursday, official Palestinian news agency Wafa said. No, that's all they have here. This is a blip kind of story, unfortunately. But I kind of got on the news, like I got on the beat about it from the BBC. Apparently, Israel or IDF, at least if I'm remembering and connecting this correctly, that they were targeting some specific guy from some Hamas faction, or not Hamas faction, but like, some some terrorist organization within, and they're saying, hey, we got this guy, so that is what justified killing, all these people. Once again, I might be getting that part wrong. I really wasn't able to like connect the dots as well as I really like to, but I did want to start off with coverage on that. Let's move on to some news that I kind of caught, was it tail end, I think, on yesterday, also from Reuters. Top U.S. oil field firm Haliburton hit by cyber attack, source says. Sometimes it just happens to the best organizations. Oops. U.S. oil field services firm Haliburton on Wednesday said it was hit by a cyber attack, according to a person familiar with the matter. Haliburton said it was aware of an issue affecting certain systems at the company and was working to determine the cause and impact of the problem. The company was also working with leading external experts to fix the issue, a spokesperson said in an emailed statement. The attack appeared to impact business operations at the company's North Houston campus, as well as some global connectivity networks, the person said. Who declined to be identified because they were not authorized to speak on the record. Yeah, I get that. No one wants to get like Boeing for, just speaking out loud. Houston, Texas-based Haliburton is one of the largest oil field services firms in the world, providing drilling services and equipment to major energy producers around the globe. It had nearly 48,000 employees and operated in more than 70 countries at the end of the last year. I also love, because I Googled this company real quick, just to kind of see it again. And it was funny to kind of just see their quick header. I didn't even bother really clicking after that. But just the idea that like they don't market themselves anymore, and they're not alone in this. Like I've seen any kind of like gas, like Shell or BP, they do the same kind of fucking shit, where they try to like divert your attention away from the fact that the main fucking thing that they do is oil. But like I've literally seen some of these motherfuckers like make podcasts talking about cleaner, energy efficient solutions and blah 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 blah, and talking about how they're energy forward, energy first, and they use this mantra so much of just like, we're an energy company actually, and it's like, motherfucker, this shit is oil, fossil fuel, the shit that is literally nuking the planet, bro. The real nuclear warming. It's climate change, motherfucker. Like it's crazy that these motherfuckers try to mask themselves and cloak themselves and play these like fucking shell games with like fucking verbiage. But anyway, they got hacked. They got fucking hit up digitally. Digital, get down. Oh, sorry, I don't know why that happened. Cyber attacks have been a major headache for the energy industry. They talked about the Colonial Pipeline in 2021. That's neither here nor there. I didn't cover that shit. They reference a dark side gang, however they call them, a gang, hacking group. And I mean, I don't know if they're referencing them to insinuate that they might be involved here. I don't know, but we don't have any evidence to point to that as of now. Let's see. We also don't know exactly what kind of hack, but it's said that like they told employees to like, hey, don't plug into like anything. So maybe that kind of alludes to a potential kind of ransomware, malware situation. We don't know. We also don't know if it is that, if they're going to be paying or whatever. We have no idea. But that being said, they got fucking hit up, and here I am chirping about it. So there's that. Let's go ahead and move on to our next beat, our next story, from CNN. Supreme Court blocks some of Arizona proof of citizenship requirements for November election. The Supreme Court on Thursday declined to revive parts of a Republican-backed Arizona law that could have barred thousands of voters from casting a ballot in the November presidential contest or by voting by mail, but it permitted other controversial requirements of that law to take into effect. So that's good. Just starting silver linings right up the top, because the rest of this I really don't like. This is always a scary thing for me, because I am really into an absentee ballot, voting by mail, whatever, because and a lot of times you just like, maybe this is just me being anxious, or just merely the fact of like, I don't like having to use my PTO or waste time after work. Like, there is a certain kind of convenience that I feel like we all should have as Americans to be able to write in our votes and send that shit in, okay? It's crazy that we live in the year 2024 and we can't have this shit fucking texted in. American Idol has been a thing, and you were able to boop, 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 text that shit in. It's crazy that I can't vote for my president via my goddamn fucking phone. I don't care about fucking voter security. Eat my dick. I don't give a shit. It's crazy. But I will vote in person if I have to. I've done it before. I'll do it again. You really don't have to yank my chain to fucking take a day off. I have the PTO. That being fucking said, I don't like it. And I think that, once again, back to our goddamn rights, we should be able to vote by mail. That should just be a fucking thing. Anyway, so I'm glad that that's still on the table for Arizonians. Is that what you say? Arizonites? I think it's Arizonians. The Supreme Court left in place a lower court's ruling that barred enforcement of the law that required voters to document their U.S. citizenship to vote in this year's presidential election. But it allowed the state to enforce a requirement that would-be voters document their citizenship before registering to vote using a state registration form. Now, I'm sure pretty much everybody that's like, okay, that seems pretty face up, that seems pretty fair and cool and fine. What's the rub there? It's like, there really isn't. You got me here. But at the same time, adding this extra layer here is, to me, a more or less nuisance law. Like, people who are illegal aren't trying to go out of their way to goddamn vote. That's not a fucking thing. They don't want to fucking risk it. It's not worth the fucking hassle. Really what this does is add an extra layer. And so let's say you don't have a driver's license or something like that. So it's not an automatic like, oh, we know you're registered. We know you have citizenship. You couldn't have citizenship. You couldn't have a driver's license without citizenship. So we know you're good. But like, let's say you don't. So now this is an extra thing. And it's like, oh, so I have to have like some extra paperwork and do that. And most people are like, well, don't you just have that? And it's like, yeah, you should. My paranoid Android ass always does have this shit. I've paid money to correct legal records so that I don't get fucked in the future for this shit. So yeah, I do that. But like, these kind of things sometimes can cost money. They can cost time, which is also, time is what? Motherfucking money. So when you're poor as fuck and you don't have the means, and like at the end of the day, you can kind of feel like this shit doesn't matter anyway, right? Like, what does my fucking vote even matter in an electoral college sometimes? And you go, do I really want to go through this fucking hassle? And you go, oh, no, I don't. So that's why I call this shit like a nuisance law. Like, more or less this is automatic. There's no reason to like make a kerfuffle about this shit. But post 2020, this is kind of the steps that conservatives are taking to be like, hey, this is how we secure a win for Donald Trump or just our party, whatever. Like, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to fucking just tweak this shit, fuck with this shit just enough. A story that I was listening to on the Daily, if my computer hasn't hopefully frozen. Okay, bear with me. I'm just going to be reading the title here because I'm being paywalled. Thank you, New York Times. I love you. You're making so much money, but, don't want to share me with the news. Okay. How a far-right takeover of Georgia's election board could swing the election. Now, me just doing a little TDLR because I listened to the podcast shit. Essentially, local election board has gotten shaken up enough and enough like of these like more or less MAGA, just hard right motherfuckers have gotten in, and essentially they have gotten enough tweaks in so that like essentially a process where it's like you have an official who just signs off on this shit and says, hey, the election has been checked and is thorough and official and we're good. I'm here saying it's good to go. We're good. We're fine. Essentially now can say, I kind of have some suspicions. Maybe something happened. Maybe there's something up here and I can now stop what's happening and potentially delay it. And that kind of shit if we're post November 5th, you have, I think, until like the 11th or some shit. And then that's when you start to like jam up this shit legally even. And like, you're literally doing a thing here where it's like, well, don't you want this? This is free and fair shit. This is clear shit. It's like, you're adding these extra protocols that are essentially, if this person on their whim can now decide to just dredge up and gum up, which then does what? Politically just creates intrigue, which is more or less what? Suspicion. You're just making evidence where there isn't any evidence, but it's something that people are going to keep chewing and talking about and gumming up legally. And more or less, that is more of what we had in 2020 with the Joe Biden-Donald Trump election. It is them going out of their way to make real the threats that they said that they were going to carry out. That it's like, we are going to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We're gonna have our version of a fair election, more or less, is what we're looking at here. And it's been them taking a chisel to whatever they could, and you're just seeing it in these two instances that I'm describing here. So I really wanted to just at least yap about that and do my best, due diligence, whatever, to do my squawking. But it is what it is. The die's kind of cast on these things. I don't want to like lose my fucking head over it. It sucks. I think it's dumb. But I really hope that, I really hope, and then I'm about to get into this shit. But I do hope Harris wins. I'm going to keep saying that shit. Y'all know me. I can't change. All right? It is what it is. But let me go ahead and take my last break, and we'll go ahead and close this shit out on the last day of the Democratic National Convention. Day 4. Fuck me, dude. And maybe some of you guys are wondering, Isaiah, what do you mean, fuck me? What's the problem? It's been all joy. It's been all freedom. It's been all fucking Beyonce. Though Beyonce didn't show up, nor Taylor Swift. We did get Pink, though. I feel like that's underrated. Pink is fucking dope. Take what you get. That's a good get, okay? We had Stevie Wonder, too. Come on, now. Anyway. Takeaways from, this is from CNN. Takeaways from the final night of the Democratic National Convention. So, Mamala landed. She served. It's been a lot. Also, I want to say too, y'all know I'm always referencing them, and gonna do it here. I spent 4 hours of my day today listening to TrueAnon, Democratic National Convention coverage, where essentially they weren't allowed into that motherfucker, but they talked about that shit every fucking day. And I love that shit. It was really good coverage. Obviously, and y'all know me, I listen to all kinds of motherfuckers, either it be from like liberal lenses, leftist lenses. I will at least maybe sometimes hear what motherfuckers on the right will have to say just to know what the other side is saying. But, boy, howdy, this was just a lot. It was a lot to take in, man. Like, I get what people are saying when they say, like, this was a very historic moment. And, like, when you really do take it all in, it's surreal. But, I mean, like, the liberal in me is like, yo, this feels good, ? But yet, I keep going back to that semi-sweet, yet nausea feeling that you have watching this shit play by play. And, like, once again, I didn't watch her whole speech for Kamala, but she said a lot. And, let's get into the article. Let's talk about it. Vice President Kamala Harris capped one of the most extraordinary months in modern political history Thursday night with a speech that rallied Democrats around themes of patriotism and cast Donald Trump as the enemy of classic American principles. And the enduring struggle between democracy and tyranny, I know where I stand. And I know where the United States belongs, she said. With the cadence of a courtroom prosecutor, Harris delivered on the promise many Democrats saw in her when she launched her first presidential campaign 5 years ago, and when Joe Biden chose her as her running mate in 2020. I mean, from my perspective, when you look at this, and I agree with a lot of what people are saying, or I don't want to say a lot, at least some people, this is just Joe Biden's speech, just said through her. It's just Kamala's version of what Joe has been doing, what Joe Biden's administration has been doing, which doesn't surprise me at all. That doesn't like leg sweep me or anything like that. I think it's weird to see certain people's reactions to this, like they're surprised. Or not even surprised, or they're like saying, wow, like she's actually like, this is so refreshing to hear her this way. But I'm like, no, I think it's just good to hear a person say it without sunsetting. You know what I mean? I think that's good. But like, it's weird because like when we get to like the beats that, once again, that I personally dislike about the Biden administration, which is going to be now the Harris administration in the best case scenario, at least according to me, like it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel that much better. Like, I kind of just want to jump ahead to, I guess, the thing that was kind of the most upsetting or potentially like jarring for me and others was just the point of how we're going to highlight how we are backing Israel to the hilt, and we can't let October 7th happen again. But yet all we can really drum up for the Palestinian side is that, oh, this is devastating. This is devastating, and we got to do something to potentially get in the two-state solution. And it's like cool that you mentioned that, but it's like your administration has the ability to stop this. This is something we've talked about before. Like, you just say stop, and we're not giving you any more weapons, and this is over. This is fucking over. You're allowing Benjamin Netanyahu to run the show the way he wants, was essentially infinite eternal war, so he never has to answer for anything, and he never fucking loses his job. Like, that's essentially the play here. Like, or we can just talk about it morally, and it's just like, hey, we're just down to do genocide. We've done both of these conversations. It doesn't matter how you square this shit. It's not okay. And essentially, she's just like, yeah, you know, well, we just got to get Hamas. And like, when you hear her talk about just being lethal, and like the military, it's like, yeah, dude, I guess it's nice to hear this with some vim and vigor, and some people like that, but I can understand how some people grimace at that, and they don't want to fucking hear that shit. And that's the cop talk that everyone fucking is like, oh yeah, no. So, you know, also, we talked about this in previous episode, where you're literally saying, hey, we're going to have Jewish voices up, and we're going to talk about bring the hostages home. But when we talk about any Palestinian representation, it's snuffed out. And that was intentional. It was by design. Like, as if Harris is going to do this speech and she's going to say her shit, and you're just going to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad you at least are going to do something about it. But you know she's not. You know that this is verbatim the same shit that old sleepy Genocide Joe is going to do. And that is something that I can understand. And I've been saying this. It's like, bro, you could lose Michigan over this shit, dude. Like, and I'm sure you can go through all this fucking realpolitik bullshit on why it's better to do the message that she did, and talk about freedom, and talk about how she's for the people. Talk about all this fucking shit and reaching across the aisles and getting those moderate votes. But I don't know, man. This feels like you're more or less just backing, once again, Israel to the hilt here. And you're making sure that you're signifying that as a candidate, even. And it's like, okay, I guess. But like, once again, I really hope we knock off this progressive ass bullshit, because we know it's not that. We all know it's not that, okay? You know what I mean? Like, look, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I was going to vote for that goddamn cadaver. I'm going to vote for this RoboCop lady, too. I'm going to do it, okay? And you know what? I'm going to give her flowers when I can, too. I know, maybe that's fucked up. Maybe that is the Kamalafacation of Isaiah Edwards. And that's just is what it is. I'm sorry. But, like, I am glad that she didn't fall into, I guess, the hill dog trap of like, I'm doing this for women, this is her story. And it's like, dude, I'm down for that. Once again, I voted for Hillary. I can't stress that enough, and I would do it again. But her and her new facelift. But that being said, I think it's smart. And once again, it's crazy how much you have to pander to men, like on both sides of the aisle, whether it's Democratic or Republican, you have to appeal to the dudes. And it is weird. You would think you wouldn't have to, but like, no, you really have to do all these things. You have to be all things to people. Kamala Harris is going to have to be an omni person. But I just think the cruelest fucking thing about this shit is that we've prioritized Palestinian lives, just people in general, so low just so that we can just pander, right? Like, that's what we're doing, right? Like, because this could all get done. Like, you could keep putting this on Hamas and all this shit and da-da-da-da-da, but this could all get settled. You could just say, dude, just stop. And it could stop. We could just stop killing women and children, people who have nothing to do with this shit. We could stop. That ceasefire could fucking happen. You don't have to have these motherfuckers occupying Delphi or whatever in Gaza. That shit does not have to fucking happen. Come on now, dude. I'm sorry. That's bullshit and y'all know it. But anyway, there's more here. They had talks about abortion. You know, obviously there's more about her policy, not just the foreign stuff. But I think people still want to see more. They still want to get an interview out of her. I kind of wonder if you're not going to get that until post the debate, which is going to be next month between her and Trump. I'm definitely eager to see how that's going to fucking go. Also, since we're mentioning Trump here, Trump was like live tweeting or live truthing throughout her whole speech. And then like, I think post he called Fox to bitch and moan, and I love that. I'm like, dude, what a queen. I love that for him. I love that. He's like, I'm not letting that shit die. She's coming for me, dude. And I've been talking to my coworkers, like, I'm sure he's been so steamed to see like attack Michelle and Barack Obama, and now this like Harry speech, like, oh, he's like, bro, I've got to defend myself. I've got to defend myself in the marketplace of ideals. I love that. I love that. That's our former president. That's 45, baby. Anyway, like I said, there's more there. I could give you, blah, blah, blah. There's Central Park 5. What else do you want to scroll here? You can read the article. I got the points in that I really wanted to talk about when it came to the Democratic National fucking Convention. Also, it's very funny. I've mentioned Charlie XCX. I've experienced Brat. Apparently, once again, this is referencing TrueAnon. Brat was just infused throughout like some kind of fucking viral DNA. And like, it's crazy how meme pilled, how viral fucking fied this whole thing is. And like that, like for better, like it's, okay, let me try to describe it the way I want to here. The way the Republican National Convention was weird was how it felt like a religious convention. And like, I guess the DNC thing isn't weird for this because I think it's kind of a classic motif, but this felt like just like almost like LA comes to Chicago kind of vibe. It's like, hey, let's just bring all the celebs. Let's just get so fucking cool. Let's get star-studded. And like, it really was down to the point like, hey, is Beyonce going to show up? Is Taylor Swift going to show up? And it's like, nah, we're just going to play a Beyonce song and drop some balloons. And I mean, okay, cool. Like, I'm glad to see some of these people, like, quote unquote, on the same team. But, like, it just feels like a big photo op, dude. It feels very weird, right, in that regard. And, we'll see. We'll see how things go, We are now going from that march, I feel like, towards the election to now we're starting to do the run. You know what I mean? And it's weird, right? What is this? Is the second election we've covered, like the election cycle on the podcast. Obviously we did the Joe Biden Trump thing, and I've said it before, back then there was that sense of like nervous, like, oh my gosh, how is this gonna go? What's gonna happen? Are we gonna get another 4 years like I suspected at the time of Trump, or is this gonna be done? You know what I mean? So I don't have any speculation. No, I kind of have some speculation. Do I? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Do I want to throw whoever? I think it's going to be Harris. I kind of think it's going to be Harris. But I really want to wait until the first debate because I felt the way and I was locked in before, and then Joe just fucking shat his pants. And I don't want to fucking see Kamala Harris do that and look like a fucking rube to y'all. So maybe I'm going to hold the cards there, and I just gave you a little teaser of what I think. Who knows? But who cares? Who gives a fuck? I'm just a guy in a shitty armchair. So don't worry about me. Pay me no mind. That's the episode. I want to call it before I go too long here. If you'd like to help out, support the effort. Do you hear that plane? That's crazy. Nothing's happening. I just live near an airfield. It'd be sick if something was. Maybe that'd be something to talk about next episode. Anyway, sorry. Patreon.com/Zan News. If you'd like to become a newsie, shoutouts are coming up soon. So by all means, hit me. Do it now. I don't know. Sorry. Free ways to hit me up. Azanus1@gmail.com. Let's see here. Feel free to follow me or the podcast, any of the socials. Please subscribe to the YouTube. Really helps out there. That's a free way to support. Leave a like. Leave a comment. Cool comment preferred. Don't be weird. Don't be a heel. No one likes heels. Those aren't fun. Be the face. But yeah, that's it. That's really all I have. I'm crashing. I'm L crashing. L crash out. Is that what the kids say? Right? I don't know. Gosh, it's so hard to keep up with the vernacular. Hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.